Welcome to the Secret Masterclass New York edition. In this video, we'll look at a book called The Secret, A Treasure Hunt by Byron Preiss. This theory will use painting 12 with verse 10. All ideas are based on the interpretation of the verse and image, with confirmations coming from within the book. New York, New York. The city so nice they named it twice. In Boston, we learned there was a connection to New York via the verse. If Thucydides is north of Xenophon referenced a letter sent from Horace Walpole to Sir Horace Mann, which stated, "The next Augustan age will dawn on the other side of the Atlantic. There will perhaps be a Thucydides at Boston, a Xenophon at New York." By linking these two cities together within the puzzle, there could very well be similarities between the two locations the cask is hidden. In Boston, the word north was in the verse, and the cask was found in the north end. New York has the word east in the verse. The East River divides the city. Keep that in mind as we go through the clues. New York has a second key word in the verse, the word twice. This could imply that some of the clues have two meanings. It is New York after all. In the Boston painting, the bird represented a more abstract concept, rather than an image match we were meant to find. With the letters B-O-S-T-O-N in the painting, the bird was meant to pop the bubble next to it, representing the Boston Pops. This implied motion will help us with the bird in New York. First, the bird in New York is a hybrid, a combination of two birds. It has the head of an eagle with the body of a seagull. This is another indication that the clues come in twos in this puzzle. While there is no perfect image match for the eagle's head, there are some which are close. Ellis Island has an eagle on top of the ferry building. In the past, this island was the entry point for immigrants coming to America, giving us a direct connection to the theme of immigration found within The Secret. Another theme of the book is the interaction between the fair people and the Native Americans. The native Mohegan referred to Ellis Island as Gull Island because of the large number of seagulls inhabiting it. Therefore, the hybrid bird in the painting could imply Ellis Island. There are other concepts the bird can imply as well. It is in the air, as is the rusalka in the painting, giving us another example of things in twos. There are two ways you could get a bird's eye view in New York. One is literal, like using an observation deck, and the other is by using a map. The idea of using a map is again implied by the similarity between the rusalka and the subway map. The left side of the map contains the key matches. With movement implied by the bird in the Boston painting, what could the movement of the bird in the New York painting imply? When combined with the idea of a bird's eye view on a map, the direction of flight on the page can be determined by using a compass. We have a location at Ellis Island and a direction of flight from the bird. It leads to the mouth of the East River. If we continue up the river, we come to something else which can be found in the painting. Roosevelt Island. The shape of the island is hidden in her dress, with the belt around her waist at the location of the Queensboro Bridge. At the edge of the belt next to her hip is a distinct shape. This shape can be found within the metal frame of the bridge as you drive across its length. It is also mirrored on the ground at the entrance to the bridge heading east, on the same side of the bridge as the shape is on her hip, again repeating the theme of clues coming in twos. If you were to stand at the southern tip of the island and look across to Manhattan, you would see the United Nations Secretariat building just off to the left. In the painting, the red rectangle sits to the left as well. This rectangular building was the first ever built in New York City with a glass curtain wall. This feature is an outer wall, which when covered with glass allows light in, while keeping the elements out. The one difficulty with this type of wall is monitoring the indoor environment due to heat gain. The red around the outside of the rectangle could symbolize the curtain wall of the building. The colors for the transportation systems used on the Queensboro Bridge can be found in the painting as well. The older trolleys, which were the original system, were cream-colored. Those ran on the bottom. Later, an aerial trolley system was installed, which was burgundy-colored. This matches the colors in the painting, with the burgundy on top and the cream on the bottom. The bird is flying over those two colors, and if we go back to the flight from Ellis Island, it went over a place with those two colors as well. The counting houses of Schermerhorn Row. These buildings are the current location of the South Street Seaport Museum, where another eagle can be found. Let's return to the subway map comparison. The left side of the subway map is our focus. This area of the map is in Brooklyn. The third line of the verse says, "Find the arm." In her hand is the chrysanthemum, with the arm extended along the same path as the R line of the subway in 1982. When the flower is turned upside down, the R becomes visible, giving us confirmation we are on the right track. The terminus for the R line is at Fort Hamilton. This is near a couple of other landmarks that can be found in the painting. The large arch in the painting is like the two arches found on the Verrazano Bridge. On the Staten Island side of the bridge, there are the remnants of Fort Wadsworth. In 1913, President Taft presented the buffalo nickel here. A version of the buffalo appears to be in the wave of the painting. Another thing that comes in twos are the two numbers in the painting, 74 and 41. Both can be found in the water. These numbers are the latitude and longitude clues for New York. The 74 longitude line crosses the water at the mouth of the East River. This is the same area the flight of the bird led to. It is also the same spot the R line of the subway crossed under the East River, with latitude and longitude being another clue to a map. It is no surprise that the subway map confirms the location of the 74 in the water. The 41 is backward in the painting. When you look at it from an aerial map perspective, the reversed numbers look like the convergence of the East River and the Harlem River, with the Hudson on the other side. This convergence gives us another location up the East River, known as the Hell Gate. The Hell Gate is a tidal strait with a dangerous reputation for sinking ships. The changes in tide create whirlpools and steep waves. In the painting, the water appears to be swirling in front of the steep wave behind it. The final thing we'll cover in Part 1 are the two things in the painting most identifiable to New York: the Statue of Liberty and the Big Apple. The face of the Rusalka is unmistakably the Statue of Liberty. This face can also be found at the Jefferson Market Library. The Statue of Liberty is our city identifier. We'll discuss the relevance of the Jefferson Market Library in a later video. The Big Apple, one of the nicknames of New York City, can be found within the head of the buffalo in the wave. Turn it upside down to see it. This gives us the second clue within the buffalo. Using the concepts inferred in the painting, we now have a foundation to begin solving the verse. In the next video, we'll begin to follow the verse through the city and explore some of the other connections waiting to be found in the painting and the rest of the book. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons.